It's amazing to be with you guys. And I love that Eric got everybody to say hi. One of the things about this crowd is, just having met a couple of you earlier down in coffee in here, some people have been working on this stuff for decades. And so thank you. And it's so exciting to see the beginnings of the tools really, thank you, democratize. And then some people just came to this field, and you're coming from adjacent areas into it. And one of my favorite things is, as the tools come, the people who just think it's normal that we just make things, our young people who have grown up thinking the internet was always here, basically, and the beginnings of these technologies. Okay, so I'm going to run through a whole lot of different images really fast, because I just want to kind of set the stage, because all of these tools can be used in any way we want, right? However we're going to use them, and they're going to be used really widely. Tim Cook gave a speech for the commencement at MIT, and he said, technology doesn't have an opinion, right? It'll be good or bad or great or not or whatever it is that we do with it. So it is really about the human values that come into the technologies and thinking through that. And I just wanted to share this. I had the honor of being the Chief Technology Officer for the United States and kind of the signals that come from our history. So Franklin and Washington and Jefferson were discussing what should be on the first penny, and this is the Liberty Penny. It's the very first American penny. Look what it says, Liberty, parent of science and industry. And it's been shortened now to just the word liberty on our coins, but think about what they mean. Science, industry, technology are part of freedom. That's an interesting thing to note. And then this amazing quote from George Washington in the very first State of the Union. There's nothing which better deserves your patronage than the promotion of science and literature, knowledge. VR, AR, is our form of the next wave of knowledge engagement, people engagement, understanding each other, empathy, understanding math, science, literature, the universe, etc. And so he signals to us that this work is important and continues to be important. I love this picture because it's from Science Fair, and the president's talking to these little kids. They're part of this amazing set of kids who are all over the White House at Science Fair. This particular group was from the first robotics teams, and they worked on how to help people with technology. In this case, it was about ability disabilities, and they made a page-turning robot to help someone read a book who couldn't turn the pages. And the president says, how'd you guys do this? And they said, we had a brainstorming. Really? And then what'd you do? We made some prototypes. Can you imagine if every child at school, in their house, with their friends, worked on a problem in the world and brainstormed and prototyped and had that kind of practice makes permanent experience. And this is not partisan. Here's President Reagan with Grace Hopper. Grace Hopper was famous, of course, for inventing coding languages. But she also used to say, ships are safe in a harbor, but that's not what ships are for. So really, really fabulous Americans and fabulous leaders throughout our history working on this. We could talk about science and technology itself. This feels like, to me, a great summary of the kinds of stuff we were working on. It was a culmination conference with President Obama in the fall of 2016, talking about all the frontiers, personal frontiers, the BRAIN initiative, personalized learning, personalized medicine, local, the smart cities, wise communities, justice, data, education, all the things in our communities. National frontiers, we looked at AI and data science. On the global frontiers, we looked at green energy and climate change and how we can be better as an environmental community on the island of Earth. And then interplanetary was as we go off that island, not only the near-term commercialization with SpaceX and Blue Planet, or Blue Origin, but also the Pluto missions and Mars rover, all this exciting stuff that's going on. One of my favorite moments on that was someone from Blue Origin was on stage, and she said that she's in Seattle, she works on rockets, her husband works at Boeing, her son and daughter were talking, her son said, no, girls work on rockets and boys work on airplanes. So what we know is what we know, and it's up to you guys to think about that. But what I want to talk about is not technology, but the disconnect that we have right now. This is Chattanooga. This woman is visiting her child at home in VR. And this is McDowell County, West Virginia. He has to go get water for his family. No one's making a WeWork for that building, right? What are we doing? Because we could get in that car and drive over here and start teaming up. And in fact, right now, not only did Sanders give his poverty speech in this county, but so did President Kennedy and President Johnson. Like, what are we doing? But over here, we've got the highest speed internet in the Western Hemisphere. Over here, we've got $6 billion of foreign direct investment. So one of the things I think you guys can do is one of our challenges. We're seeing this on TV all day. How about we see more of this, so more of these people can change their communities and come this direction, right? Show what's working, share what's working. That is helpful. Dalai Lama, amazing essay talking about, do we feel included? Some people are very nervous about the future. How do we change that? You guys are a big part of that. Congress used to get along better, starting to fight and fight and fight and fight, right? Look at this animation. It's really, really impressive. And part of it is the rise of what we're watching and what we're hearing, what we think the other sides are saying, no matter which side you're on. And we used to kind of be okay with the president, and pretty soon we just love or hate them, no matter who they are. So really dividing out. So what do we do about this? I think what's exciting is show what's working. So here's Boise, Idaho. President went to Boise and said, how many tech meetups in Boise? There were 15. One of them has 800 people in it. A lot of people don't know that's happening in their town. This is Gaza. You don't usually get to see pictures like this of Gaza, internet camp, people solving problems. This is Herat, Afghanistan. 80 miles from the Iran border, all these people are founding companies. So we found all the tech meetup folks, and we got them in the White House, and he said, how about you guys, these TEDx-like organizers, start bridging your community, become visible to all of your neighbors. We did this at the UN. We said, hey, we're around to ratify this incredible agenda that everyone's collaborated on, these goals we set from 2015. It's called the 2030 Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals. So we put up a webpage, blasted it out, said, who's got solutions? And we had 800 submissions from 100 countries in 2 weeks. Amazing things. These guys are flying drones to plant 1 billion trees a year. She's doing solar lighting, Princess Mechanical Engineer from Burkina Faso, teaching law in prison so prisoners can get themselves out of jail. This is a floating fab lab. Think makerspace. Like if you were in high school and you went in the shop, the art room, home ec, those kinds of tools floating in the Amazon. There's an entire maker community that could accelerate and solve things with chemistry and innovation and invention as jobs, or they could cut down more trees. We've taken 20% of the Amazon. Which world do you want to live in? You guys can help tell these stories. More people knowing this gets us out of that. So right now, today, this week, the Fabricating Society, Fab 13, is meeting in Santiago, Chile. All the makers from all around the world. There's now 1,000 Fab Labs. This is Rectitech in Baltimore. So we can get into this space. This is South Americans reorganizing into this kind of capability. It's really interesting to think how we used to be such local manufacturing. Then we got so centralized in industrial edge, and we're actually returning back to a very much more local way. The most advanced manufacturing can happen in a very local way. We can share resources. I got to learn this. This is some of my freshman college projects, building these kinds of things in a machine shop, an apprentice experience that eventually was so inspiring to get to work on these kinds of projects. Everybody needs to apprentice in. This was some oil work we did. I got to work with the team that originally built the Macintosh with Steve Jobs. This is some of them. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, but they're an amazing team, and we work on these prototypes early. Became cell phones, prototypes. That's so important to experience and work together and work on problems that are out there. One of the problems I want to talk to you guys about, because you're behind the camera. You have the camera, and you're influencing people with the camera. What have we been doing that we didn't mean to do? One of the things we've been doing is making extraordinarily biased media. We did not create this problem, but we surely inherited it. This is children's TV. Boys and men's line in blue, women and girls in the pink. That's not okay. That's not how the world needs to be. When we grow up, after we watch this as children, we make this media landscape. This is 2,000 films. The men's lines to the women's lines. That's the meeting you were in. That's a textbook you read. We're really imbalanced, and it's not good for our society. So you have to know that you're up against this unconsciousness, and when you're filming and you're writing and you're doing things, you're subject to create this unless you actively make yourself not do that. You're going to make this kind of stuff instead of this kind of stuff. Who's seen Moana? Anybody? Fabulous, right? So this is, sort of their joke, but it's not funny. It's confidence-crushing media, right? Let's not do that. What's great is this week, an amazing new study came out, again, from Dr. Stacy Smith and the teams. Stacy worked with Gina Davis about what we're seeing and what it does to us. The sexualization of women in all our media, it's just destructive for everybody. But we can do things like this. We can see Katherine Johnson, the amazing elite mathematician who brought us to the moon. If we know our true past, When you're making a history story, you're immersing someone in history, go look at the old photos and see who was there and make sure you include everyone who was in the room, even if somebody didn't write them into the story. Because here's an example of that. One of my favorite stories, I'm from Buffalo. Nikola Tesla used Niagara Falls to light Buffalo. He's amazing, right? One of the things you don't know about him is that his mom, Duca, is his inspiration, not as his mom, who's an inspiration, as all moms are incredible, and dads, but she is his physics and science mentor, and we don't know that. We need to know that. He credits his ingeniousness with her. This is Susan Wright. She's the mother of the Wright children, Orville, Wilbur. She's like the chitty chitty bang bang dad, right? She used to make all this mechanical stuff. She's a mechanical genius. The boys would take their stuff to show her and fix their stuff. She would debug it with them. So who are they learning from? Their mom. We need to see that in the movies. We need to see that their sister was their Sheryl Sandberg, COO. We got to know this stuff, and we got to know that Ida B. Wells, one of the greatest American data scientists ever, who used data and journalism to stop us from lynching in the 1800s. She and Frederick Douglass protested the Chicago World's Fair because they wouldn't let African-American people show their inventions and art and other things. So you have to know this has been going on for a long time. So if you do the Edison-Tesla fight, you can show Ida and Frederick protesting, and you can know the breadth of what's really been going on. Know about the Declaration of Sentiments and what it says from Seneca Falls. Know about the truth of history. There's some simple examples of hidden figures. You know, Ellen Swallow Richards brought ecology, first person to do water treatment here. This is the Bletchley Park teams. You guys know about the code breakers. Some people might have seen this. These are people playing real people. He's playing Turing, she's playing Joan Clark. Imagine for a minute these people who saved 11 million years, shortened the war by 11 million lives, shortened the war by 2 years. Elite technical mathematicians, World War II, got them? Imagine them. Right? Remember I said to look at the photos? Because this is them. Did you imagine them? Because these are the 92-year-old code breakers, including the Duchess of Cambridge's grandmother and great aunt. So they were part of this team, 2/3 women. So in the UK, 25-to-1 boy visitors to girl visitors to this museum, because computers are for boys, right? So we have to get out of missing our history, because we've got to bring all of our children into this new world. All of them on screen with what you're making in the immersive experience. Everybody's always been awesome. You know, the first digital programmers in America working with Eckert and Mockley, right here, these women. Mercury 13? I thought it was 7, right? But actually there were 13 women astronauts who trained, did all the classes. They had to self-fund. They weren't supported by our government. But actually we should tell the whole story of our first astronauts. We should tell the whole story of the Macintosh team. This is the original Rolling Stone photographs. 7 men, 4 women. Susan Carroll, all the graphics you see. Joanna Hoffman was on stage, and sometimes in Insidious. So this is something I want you to remember. Joanna walked out of, most of the women in this photograph are not in the cast of any of the Jobs films. And the men have speaking roles in the Max sections. There's one exception, which is Joanna. Kate Winslet won the Golden Globe for playing her. Joanna came out of the movie. She's a physics grad from MIT from Eastern Europe. Her son said, "Mom, did you really iron Steve Jobs' shirt?" Why did he ask that question? He knows his mom. Because she said, "No, Jeremy, I never ironed a shirt in my life except once for you when we were late." Why did we write that line? Why did we cast that way? Why did we think that way? Because all this bias that we live with, we write right into our media, and it's not true, and it's debilitating. Right? It accelerates one group and debilitates another, and you guys can change that as you do that. So tell the stories. Look for who's out there. The New Makers video from Margaret Hamilton is that. Simone Cousteau. More time on the Calypso than anyone. Let's tell the whole story, Jacques and Simone together. Let women fix cars. Amelia Earhart said, best way to learn STEM, go get into your car. You know, so there's great stuff in the report about how to help yourself. So go look at that work. You know, because we need everybody doing these hackathons and this work like this, working together to fix the greatest challenges. This is Grace. She's in 10th grade, teaching the chief of police of New Orleans how to code so that they can get into the data that we need to start working on. This is a hackathon at the White House with great police leadership who are already doing this work, teaching other police. Now we have a whole police data initiative. We can use the internet as a community of practice. And so the more you guys show what this looks like in your medium, the more the different police chiefs can do this. This is the largest mental health institutions in our country. Rikers, our prisons. That's not a great place for mental health. But we can get together and do hackathons if we all feel confident about solving problems together, and now we have communities of practice. You know, we brought technical people to government. We called it TQ, like IQ and EQ, mixing them in with the other amazing leaders to work on these harder problems. These are harder problems than the Silicon Valley problems. It's actually easier to make a self-driving car than to fix rural child poverty. Rural child poverty needs a broad cross-cut of work. So you can work on policy, you can work on measurement, you can work on engagement, you can work on better websites, you can work on things like you know, extractive industries, not in a PDF. You can communicate with APIs and get people to know college pricing. You could use all these kinds of methods. My friend Susan is here who's using these methods at the UN to crowdsource an amazing speaker. You know, we could do grand challenges for Ebola suits. This really happened. We, the community, upgraded these suits. We had a hackathon for foster care. And we had, you know, people now making apps for a kid to help them connect for planning their future in high school that really works for them and actually complies on the back end. You know, we could have amazing 13-year-olds like Mark Zuckerberg, all of our 13-year-olds making prototypes, not only when they're kindergartners, but in high school on real problems. My friend Laura is here from the Angry Birds team, and he's like, we should do billion-dollar school. I'm like, yeah, how about all our high school kids work on our hardest problems at school as part of learning biology and English, but not boring classes in a row, but hard problems where you have to control the subjects, learn them, and mentor in. Olivia made this great game. Kimura made this fabulous app. Her phone listens in the room for domestic violence and asks you if you want to call the police. What if Alexa could do that? Brilliant. This is Buffalo, where I'm from. I was standing right here, and I was going to go in this building. Trico's the old windshield wiper company, and now it's a fabulous innovation center that's near the biomedical space. This is the Erie Canal, one of the greatest American places. You know, it used to, when I was a kid, that caught on fire, that river. And now, this is, see over here, see the little square? That's the new Solar City plant at Riverbend, super fun site, former Republic Steel. Now they're going to pull 75 trucks of solar panels out of there. Awesome, right? Up here, that's Bethlehem Steel, also a former Superfund site. Now all those windmills, you know, Internet of Things, just exciting things happening in all of our, you know, sort of former Rust Belt places. They're lifting, but we have to include everyone. Because I was standing on this corner looking here, and then I glanced over here and I saw this. Which building do you want to go in? The Cool Innovation Center or 856 Jobs, right? So how do we get everybody in the Innovation Center, and we can also learn some job skills, but let's not do boring things with some people and really exciting things with others. How about everybody gets creative confidence? That's our goal, right? So there's as many open STEM jobs as people in prison. And every time we teach tech in prison and innovation, people get out. 4% recidivism if you teach coding, tech, entrepreneurship, 50 or 60 if you don't, because you need confidence and skills, and then you can do other things. So, you know, we started Tech Hire. How do you get these new cool 3-month classes, coding boot camps, employers to hire from them, and municipal folks to help get other people in the city who think they don't belong in them? You know, people think there's tech people and not tech people. But that's not true. We just have all these weird cultural biases, and you guys are going to make the real magic school bus, right? We're going to get into the science and tech and have much more fun and confidence and delight and joy and powerful innovation capabilities for everybody. Play the whole orchestra for every human. So that's what we're working on now. There's 70 cities who are doing this work. Or just in Appalachia, coal miners graduating from Code Boot Camp. 50 slots, 1,000 people tried for those slots. So we're out on a tech jobs tour. We're going to 50 cities. We're going to keep expanding it. We were just in Memphis and Cleveland and Birmingham. There are awesome techies in all those places doing amazing things. Other people working on social change there. Get them together and mix it up. And this is not new. George Washington Carver, when he went in to make sure we would start rotating crops, right? He invented all this stuff for peanuts. And then he went out with a Jessup wagon funded by a VC, Jessup, from here in New York, trained 2,000 farmers a month. So these movements to go upgrade our country, you know, the Ag Extension Center comes out of there. Now we got a space in every county, Ag Extension. How about Tech Extension, Tech Ag Extension? Let's upgrade those spaces. Let's get your tools out into these spaces. Let's use our national labs as a place. You know, they started Take Your Kid to Work Day. Let's have Take Your Kid to the Lab Day for every American kid, every kid in the world. In Arizona, they're electing chief science officers. It's awesome. So we love what they're doing. This is kids becoming active participants, and you're going to make them even more powerful. This is them networked. And think what happens when young people get tools and start using their voice in whole new ways. Last story. So Moana is an amazing film. What I love is it's actually kind of a true story. So the Hawaiians in the 70s started to resurrect the Polynesian sailing and working with people from the other islands who were already doing this work and learned to sail. So can you imagine being in Honolulu, getting on a boat with your colleagues right here and sailing dead reckon for Tahiti with no instruments? No compass, nothing, middle of the ocean. You just use the planet yourselves, what you know, and indigenous knowledge, and that's what they did. So they've recently sailed around the world. And they just came into Honolulu Harbor having used no instruments. That's how powerful we are as humans when we work together. So artificial intelligence or emergent intelligence? Emergent intelligence that includes silicon and us and indigenous. So really, Moana is real. These guys did this. You know, they're the apprentices, and it's a really exciting time. I love that Hawaii played the whole orchestra, because not only did they do this incredible adventure, which everyone followed, but also the president of the University of Hawaii launched a grand challenge against all the children saying, you know, we've got this canal behind Waikiki that's totally polluted. Remember my river in Buffalo? Yeah, same thing. So these are the kids winning their prizes for having invented all the things that they're going to do to solve this billion-dollar school, right? Here's the college kids winning their prizes. Amazing redesign by their ASU team here. And then the curriculum work. This is like Magic School Bus for Coral. She's a PhD researcher. They're mixing it up in Hawaii in a way that we haven't seen. And the Disney team showed up even to teach them how to do the animations. You know, there's Ali'i, who plays Moana. You know, we hosted astronomy night at the White House, and we were showing all this incredible technology, including like growing lettuce, et cetera. And we included Hokulea in the most ancient technology, because sometimes that's the most profound. There they were, right next to the commercial crew for NASA that'll take us into commercialization of space. And we can get it on TV like you guys do and see it with the Mythbusters. So this is an amazing moment where Ali'i got to meet Penny, who actually sailed in '76 on that first voyage. So we want to make sure everybody can see the heroes, see that science, tech, media, entertainment, all of culture can be integrated in a way that really solves problems in a joyful way together, just like our little kids in the science fair. There really were 4 women in space, 2 women of color. That really happened, and so we can show that we don't have to minion it and have 0 women. We don't have to smurf it and have 1 woman. So let's show like everybody, you know, like everybody is awesome. We always have been awesome. And so that's what my greatest hope for you guys is, that you'll take your most joyfulness that you have and bring it with this technology. Pay attention to the old photos, show that everybody's always in there, and lift the planet into what we can be, because everybody can be creatively confident, and you guys are at the core of helping make that happen. So thank you very much. Yeah.